Welcome to the Breakup Recovery Podcasts by your host, Barbara Stevens. Discover the wisdom and remarkable insights of Barbara Stevens, breakup recovery mentor, author, and public speaker. Barbara offers programs and solutions for any breakup so you can turn your life around, create lasting changes for the better, and embrace life again.
Welcome to Breakup Recovery Podcast. Thank you for joining me. I'm Barbara Stevens, and Breakup Recovery is a podcast helping you recover from your breakup. In this week's episode, I will be interviewing Gary Szenderski, who is an author, speaker, teacher, and branding expert. He specializes in helping people and organizations to navigate change. So welcome, Gary.
Thank you, Barbara. Nice to be here.
So, Gary, breaking up involves a lot of change in people's lives. You know, more often than not, this change can include a change in homes because they might have to sell their home that they've owned with their ex-partner. It might mean that they have to move out, or they are the ones that have to move out. A breakup can also mean a significant change in the amount of money that is coming into the family, going from having two incomes down to one. It can mean a change in a routine for the children if there are any involved. It can also mean a change in their status. You know, they're no longer a couple, they're a single person. And the changes that go with a breakup are enormous. So the changes I've mentioned about the change in living arrangements and money and routines, all these changes can be overwhelming for people that are going through a breakup. So Gary, how do people survive this change and even manage it?
You know, I think one of the things that happens to all of us when we're confronted with something that we didn't intend to happen, especially, is that we feel like we're out of control. And it's the out of control feelings that diminish our thinking ability because we start to question ourselves. And so all of these things that you're mentioning, like a new place and the kids, stuff that we would normally be able to handle, we're just sidetracked a little bit because we don't feel like it's ours to handle anymore. And so the first thing that I would say is you do have the power and you can get through it and you will get through it. And a bazillion people have done it. So just get on with it, you know, and start to think about yourself in your new world, your new life.
I guess that is so easy to say, but when you're in the midst of a breakup, those feelings are sort of right in front of you, aren't they? So
yes.
What are some steps people can take to change that thought process?
You know, there's a lot of things. People use meditation and stuff like that. But, you know, in my world, I believe that in a snap of a finger or in just 1 second, you can change your thought to whatever you want it to be. And it's really a powerful thing. And once you change your perspective, you start to see the opportunities and maybe some of the positive side of life. It's not going to make the bad stuff go away. And I can tell you from my own case that, you know, my divorce was, you know, unintentional. I didn't really want it. And so I tried to pretend like it wasn't happening for a while. But I finally kind of got some resolve and started making some decisions. And when you start to make decisions, you start to feel that control again. And that, I think, really helps you get through it.
What decisions did you have to make, Gary, that helped you on this path of being able to recover from your own divorce?
Yeah, so I'll give you some specifics. The first one was to move my ex-wife and my two children to be closer to me. I live in Southern California, and it's a huge area in Los Angeles and Orange County, and it was an hour just one way to go see the kids. And so we sold the house and bought them another house to be closer to the dad. And that was the first thing. And also moved her boyfriend. He moved in with him too. So, you know, just the way it was. So that was the first big decision. And once we got him here, it was a lot easier for the kids too and me.
Gary, do you think a male goes through a divorce or a breakup differently to a female?
Oh, I think absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we're wired differently. I remember I was astonished at, again, this is all anecdotal, so it's not like a piece of research, but in my own situation, I was astonished at how little my wife really understood about finances and stuff, and just thought the money was just going to flow forever. And I, on the other hand, like most men, we worry about, keeping a roof over our families' heads and making the ends meet and, having a good life for their children. And so we're looking at just problem solving all the time. And I think women look at it a little bit more holistically, and they just see it in a completely different perspective.
I think you're right there. So from your perspective, you think of the physical things that need to be done.
Yes.
Okay, so how did you manage your emotional side and look after yourself emotionally when you went through your divorce?
Honestly, one of the decisions I made is I quit my job as a president of a kind of a good-sized ad agency here in Southern California, and I started a new company, a design firm, with a new partner. And I married that, essentially. I mean, I married the work. I got involved in starting it and running it, and we had a good 15-year run. It was great. One of the things is I changed my focus and I put it into the business. But in the middle of that, it was still a lot of painful moments because our divorce kind of lingered for a little bit, and there was some money issues and, that kind of stuff. And I was angry. The whole time I was angry because she was having an affair, and it just wasn't fair to me, I didn't think. That said, I could see that the kids were suffering. You could just see that I was not a happy camper. I was really busy, and our relationship, we weren't friends after the divorce. We were just barely talking. And I realized that I had to make a big decision to help my children. So that I decided that the best thing I could do for my kids is to love their mother. And I switched. I just said, okay, we're going to be a family whether we're together or not. And that changed everything. Honest to God, it changed everything. And I felt a lot better. The kids were a lot better. We're really close. She was just here the other day. We have parties for our children together still. We're like not best of friends, but pretty darn close. And I work for her and her husband. They're a client of mine. So I really turned it around. I'm happy to say. And I think that was the decision. That was the deciding factor. The children were the catalyst, and that made a big difference.
So did you find that your anger issues dissipated once you let go of the anger you had towards your ex-wife?
Yeah, they didn't even go down. They just went away. It's like cold turkey. It's like cold turkey. It's like I gave up smoking. I smoked for 20 years, and I said, I'm going to quit. I quit, walked away. That's the power we have in our minds. We can do that kind of stuff. We don't think we can, so sometimes we don't try. But it can be done, and I was lucky enough to be able to do it.
And you know how you just said one day you decided to change. So every time you had a negative thought, did you just replace that with a positive one?
No, it wasn't that simple. It's not really replacement. You've got to deal with the negative stuff too, but I think what changes inside more is your own inner compass. So if you can kind of change your destination, think about your vision long term, you're going to hit obstacles, you're going to hit some negative stuff. But as long as you're focused on the end, and kind of reverse engineer your way there, it seems to be okay. You don't have to just constantly be in a happy face all the time, but you got to be in a driven, kind of focused way.
Mm. And I guess a bit of it is letting go of the past issues that you had, the anger and the other things that go along with having a divorce or a breakup. So how do you actually let go of the past?
Yeah, that's a good question. In my book, if you get a chance to look at it sometime, there's a couple of stories in there about letting go. One of the things that psychologists would say is, if you go to therapy afterwards, I went to one session after my divorce and it didn't work for me. But one of the things she said was just think of the whole bad stuff as like one thing, like a negative picture, like a weird clown or something, or like something that's freaky. And then just hold on to that thought, get a really good grasp of it, and then just forget it. Turn your attention to something else. And somehow that's supposed to kind of release it. I don't think it's that simple, and it didn't work for me anyway. But I think that what you can do to let go is to grab onto something else. that's the first thing. I'm not saying another relationship, but in my case, I grabbed onto a new business, and I got excited about what I was doing there, and that put some positive energy into my day. And once you have that working for you, it's amazing how you feel when you come home. You feel a lot better.
Yes, it is amazing how that can just change your whole outlook on life if you have some positivity going on.
Right? It's sometimes you don't know where to look for it. I have this thing I do every morning. So I think about, okay, what wonderful thing is going to happen to me today? And then I spend the rest of the day looking for it. Usually something happens. It's pretty good, pretty cool.
That's almost having gratitude too, isn't it, Gary?
Yeah, gratitude, is one of those things that is, people I think underrate it, but it's huge. When you feel like, you can appreciate something that's coming to you, I just think more and more of it comes. It's a weird thing. It's like you're priming the pump, as they say.
Gary, you mentioned a little bit about your book. It's called Zen Zone.
The book is a compilation of short stories, and I say short, maybe a page and a half or something. There's a few hundred of them, or a couple hundred anyway. And I wrote them over the course of a couple of years. I wrote one a week, every Sunday afternoon. And when I got to a few hundred, I made a book. And that's it. And basically, the stories are all over the place. I've grouped them in different sections, and it's too technical to get into it now, but think basically when you're trying to be positive, you're reaching for a state of positive change, which is the subtitle of the book, you have to have lots of ideas on how to do that. No one thing is going to be it. And every single day, something else might be talking to you. So in this book, you can open it anywhere you want, read a story, and you're going to get a positive feel, something that you can hold on to and lock into for the day. And that's the way it was designed. And I don't remember half the stories. Honestly, I look at it sometimes myself and I say, this guy's a hack, and but I have a bunch of readers and they like it, so I keep on writing them. And actually, it's therapy. So I'll give you a long answer to your question, but the book is a lot about me, but it's really about the people that I write to and what they need and what they want.
Gary, are these stories based on things that have happened in your life or based on other people, or are they just made up?
It's a little bit of all of that. I have some very truthful kinds of stories. I don't identify them as that in the book, but they're things that happened to me that help me kind of get some perspective. There is a little bit of fiction. I got a couple of short stories that I just made up to make a point. I forget what the other choice was, but yeah, and I don't use other people's names or give anything away, but a lot of it is anecdotal to my own life. Or something happened that week that I really feel like I need to write about. For example, I wrote, when bad things happen a couple of weeks ago, thinking about the terrible floods and hurricanes here in the United States and how people can actually get together and get it done and help each other. It's an amazing how we default to that power of helping each other that we often forget is there. So my story that week was a reminder that, let's help each other. You'd be surprised when you ask for help, how easy it is for people to give it to you.
That's so right. Gary, when you were going through your divorce, did you ask for help?
I didn't have to ask. I was given a lot of support from my family. That was great. My new partner, and even our staff, that we hired that were making this company go, everybody was really supportive. They knew that it was upset and it was painful. Actually, it didn't last that long. And I did go out and date a lot, and that was fun. Nothing ever stuck, but it was fun to try. I actually married my partner in a sense. Her husband was one of my friends, and that's how we started the company. But we became like a business couple, and we traveled around the world doing business, and it was fun. It wasn't, intimate, but it was certainly rewarding.
Gary, if people want to find out more about what you do and connect with you, where can they find this information?
Well, I think if you can spell my name, you can Google it, but that might be hard. Or you can go to Zenzone, SZENZONE.com. You'll see some information on my book, some reviews. I'm also on Amazon. And I also have a company called Zen Marketing. It's same SZEN. So it's www.zen.us. That's my business. And you'll see some things on there, like some videos that I produced and some of the clients that I work for in different parts of the world. And if you email me or hit the contact sheet, I'll be happy to return whatever you want to send. I'm on LinkedIn as well and Facebook, so I'm easy to find if you can spell the name. But there aren't too many Szenderskis out there, so just to get it out there, it's SZENDERSKI.
Gary, I'll put some of those links in the show notes, and I'll definitely make sure that I spell your last name in that as well.
Thank you so much, Barbara.
Gary, thank you for coming on to Breakup Recovery Podcast and sharing your tips and your strategies for people so they can embrace the changes that are definitely coming their way after their breakups. So thank you once again.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode number 105, How to Cope with Change After a Breakup with Gary Szenderski. It was interesting to hear a male's point of view with his breakup and divorce, and interesting on how men and women think about their breakups, how they deal with them, and how they navigate through the whole process. If you have a chance to check out Gary's book, Zen Zone, Reaching a State of Positive Change, some of the stories might help you recover from your breakup. I've put all Gary's details in the summary of this podcast. I hope you took something away from this episode, and if you think the information shared in this podcast could help someone you know, I hope you will share it with them or tell them about the podcast so they too can get some ideas, strategies and tips to help them through their own breakup. They can download it from iTunes, iHeartRadio and my website. Please feel free to write a review in iTunes, as this inspires me to continue on with Breakup Recovery Podcast. I don't know if I am helping anyone unless they tell me, and the review section in iTunes is a great way to get that message to me. I am a breakup recovery mentor, and I've been through my own divorce. I know the heartache you are feeling. I know the despair some of you are feeling. I work with clients one-on-one to get them back on track after their own breakups. So if that sounds like something you would like to explore with me, then reach out via my website or message me on Facebook and take advantage of my free 30-minute sounding board session, and we can have a chat to see if I can help you. And the last thing I'd like to say is, be gentle on yourself. You deserve happiness.
If you would like to hear previous Breakup Recovery podcasts, visit barbarastevens.com.au. Connect with Barbara Stevens on social media with Barbara Stevens Breakup Recovery Mentor on Facebook and at You'll Be Okay on Twitter. Read further blogs, view webinar replays, and download your free ebook, 3 Easy Steps to Surviving Your Breakup, and much more at barbarastevens.com.au.